being a patient yourself teaches you, the other side. So I was diagnosed to have a brain tumor, I was operated, and I was on the other side, and I realized that how much of empathy is required as a doctor to offer the patient, how much the patient looks up to you as God, because they put their full life in your hand. And I think it is important that we value that trust that they put us.
Today we are joined by one of the most exemplary visionary in the field of IVF, Dr. Ameet Patki, who is currently the president of Indian Societies of Assisted Reproduction.
I think I'm very passionate about my job. So I get up in the morning feeling charged that, I have to go and see my patients, do something good. So that passion itself is what drives me. And as I said, I don't compare myself to anybody. I want to better myself. Don't expect success very easy. It is extremely important because the younger generation wants everything quick. So I think you have to work. Everybody has their time and it will happen. If you truthfully, ethically work hard and you long for something, it will come to you. You should have that burning desire that I want to make a small change in practice, and it happens. So I think if you have passion, this is the profession for you.
Hello and welcome to this very special edition of The Big Idea, a special Doctor's Day series celebrated by Voice of Healthcare. This year's theme is The Voice Behind the White Coat. Stories, reflections and inspirations. And this is just our humble attempt to go beyond the stethoscope and take a moment to recognize all the clinicians that we have been working with and engaging with since years. Today we are joined by one of the most exemplary visionary in the field of IVF, Dr. Ameet Patki, who is currently the president of Indian Societies of Assisted Reproduction. Through this one-on-one conversation, I intend to explore what's behind the white coat of Dr. Patki, the challenges that shape his resilience, and the human side of medicine that all of us don't generally go beyond. So settle in as we reflect through the discussion. Before we take forward, I'd like to once again welcome Dr. Patki. Thank you so much, sir, for being here with us.
And thank you for having me with you on this special day.
Absolutely, a pleasure, sir. First of all, a very happy National Doctors Day, sir. I don't think that we could make it up till here beyond all your contributions that we have had. Thank you so much to the field of medicine.
Pleasure.
But today, as I set the discussion, I'm not intending to discuss about IVF. I don't want to discuss about how the clinicians have been working around the assisted reproduction. My idea is to just celebrate a person who's beyond the white coat. So why don't we start with the segment where we talk about the world of medicine, but a little before Dr. Patki was made. So any ideas that you'd like to throw upon? What drew you to the world of medicine first? Over to you.
Thank you so much. So I think I was destined to be a doctor. I come from a family of architects and engineers, and it was my grandfather's ultimate desire that one of his child should be a doctor. So he had 6 sons. All of them became architects and engineers. So he always desired to have a doctor. So when I was born, it was already decided that he's going to be a doctor. So I didn't have much chance. But I'm so happy that I came into this profession, not only to fulfill my grandfather's dream and desire, but I thought that the way I was brought up to have empathy. I was brought up to be passionate. So when I joined the medical school, I decided to take up a specialty which doesn't deal with disease and death. And that's why I chose obstetrics, because that is truly a specialty which brings life into this world. This is the only specialty which always or most often has a happy ending. And that's what drew me to obstetrics. And then afterwards, I got a very good opportunity to go to London to study infertility, where I looked at couples who were striving to start a family. And I thought, if I have to bring that ultimate happiness and joy, I need to work into this specialty. So that's how I got into fertility practice. I practiced there for 5 years before I decided to come back to India. And my colleagues there were aghast that you're going back to a country which is one of the most populous country in the world. There are children coming out of everybody's ears, as to say. So what will you do there? You will not have much work to do there. But we all know that infertility is 18% across the world. So it doesn't matter if my neighbor has 5 children. I don't have a child, and that hurts me more. Because in our country, infertility is not a couple problem. It becomes a family problem. It becomes a social problem. Women are ostracized. They are not invited for auspicious functions. They are considered as bad omen. Divorces are happening when there is a male factor in the problem. But that is what is. So I thought it is come back to this country, create awareness, and contribute my 2 cents to making sure that even in India, infertility is not a stigma, and people strive and attain their ultimate goal of having children. So that was my journey from a non-doctor family into coming and becoming a fertility specialist.
But as you said, Dr. Patki was destined to be a doctor.
I was destined to become a doctor.
I think we very well know what reaffirmed you that you were diving straight into the world of medicine. But I'm sure, becoming a doctor, there's a lot of classes, lessons, education that you've gone beyond, and it's not just restricted towards your graduation, post-graduation. I'm sure there's a journey behind every doctor that's here, there you are. But I'm sure, sir, there are many lessons the textbooks can't teach, and it's very valid for all the professions. But since we're celebrating Doctors' Day here, could you help us shed light on some of the lessons that the textbook didn't teach, but your experiences did?
So, as a doctor, it's many years of hard work, staying up in the night, studying, updating yourself, passing exams, doing specialty, super specialty. I think it is one of the only profession which has got continued education. Till you practice, you need to update yourself, because the patients are getting so much of knowledge outside that sometimes the patient knows more than what you know about. So you need to update yourself. So it's a profession where you can't say that now I've finished learning. You may have finished studying, but the learning process goes on. And I think our patients are our best teachers. I've learned a lot from patients, and actually being a patient yourself teaches you, the other side. So I was diagnosed to have a brain tumor. I was operated, and I was on the other side, and I realized that how much of empathy is required as a doctor to offer the patient, how much the patient looks up to you as God, because they put their full life in your hand. And I think it is important that we value that trust that they put us. So patients teach us every day. And I think it is important not only to be good in your art, but I think it is important that you combine it with empathy. Patients don't need your sympathy. They just need somebody to listen to them, to understand their problem. Give them realistic expectations. IVF is a field where I can't say 100% my patient will get pregnant. So she has to understand what is her chance after doing all the treatment that. So realistic expectations is important. I think as a doctor, we also have to offer them other options, like even adoption is a good option. Sometimes couples spend their life earnings, they sell all their family property in the quest of having a child. Sometimes as a doctor, I have to tell them, now stop. I think you have tried enough. There are other options, and they should look at those other options, because ultimately they come to a doctor to have a child, to start a family. But most of them may not have a medical illness, but they have to come to a doctor to take treatment. So it's important that we become their friend, their doctor, their guide, their counselor, because all this will give them a happy journey. Sometimes the journey also matters to them, rather than only looking at the child. So I think I've learned a lot from my patients.
So it's so good to see you all healthy and happy, since you just mentioned a bit about the brain
Yeah.
tumor journey, but we're very happy to see
Thank
you
you.
here as well. You did mention in the start that obs and gynae usually has a happy ending, but the cases that you just mentioned today, it as well is very emotionally draining. It is very emotionally sensitive to the people who are going through it. And you did mention that patients or the caregivers treat the doctors as God.
Correct.
But we often forget doctors are humans too.
Correct.
They have a life beyond the white coat, with lives, passions, and struggles. How do you take care of yourself, sir?
Most doctors don't look after themselves. I'm being very honest. But I think that passion drives them. It is something that keeps me up in the night thinking about some difficult case, thinking about some failure that has happened. But I think that is part of the job. But it is also important that we have our work-life balance. We learn to switch off and switch on, and for which then I encourage all my colleagues to have something outside your specialty, some interest outside, some passion, some hobby that will take away this stress. So it could be some game, it can be traveling. Like I love to travel, go to different places, see different cultures, have different. I'm a foodie, so I love to try different cuisines, and that takes away my stress. So I love to cook, though I don't cook every day, but I love to cook on the occasional Sunday, and that is what is my stress buster. So it's important that we have our time, but at the same time, if you're not willing to give away a part of your life to this profession, don't become a doctor.
Very well said, sir. But again, you although very well mentioned that you again were destined to be a doctor, but let's say if not medicine, is there any alternate profession that you thought during the education course that you would have turned out to be?
Frankly, no. I think even if I have to go through the process again, I would still become a doctor. Although the journey has been a uphill task in certain times. But if I really have to do something different, maybe I would have become a travel blogger.
Oh wow!
I love to travel. I've seen 80% of the world. I have gone to the interiors of India. I've gone to some exotic, unknown places in the world and had an adventurous journey. So maybe a travel blogger. But a
That's
doctor for
interesting.
sure.
A doctor can be a travel blogger, maybe.
Yes, yes, yes.
Right, sir. Talking about celebrating the experiences and the decade-longs of experiences and visions that you've had, taking a bit from your visions and legacies, sir. When you think about success, and I'm not talking about the societal success that we've coined, what does success mean to you today, and maybe something that you would like to pass on to the next generations?
I think success is something that you cannot measure. My first advice to youngsters is don't compare yourself to anybody else. We have all come with our destiny and we have to all work towards that. There is no replacement for hard work. Even if sometimes you feel somebody's got it easy, you really do not know what struggles they've gone behind the scenes. So hard work is essential for success. There is no replacement for that. I don't think you need to compare yourself with your colleagues or somebody else. I think you can measure success by seeing how much you have improved over a course of time. So if I have done better for myself than what I was 3-4 years back, and I'm not counting only money, fame, but better in how contented I am, then I think I've been a successful doctor and a successful practitioner. So it is very important that you set goals, you work towards it, you compare only with yourself, and I think at the end of the day, we have to be contented with what we have. Quite often we have a lot of things under our nose, but our vision is somewhere far off and we don't enjoy what we already have. So I think it is very, very important that you enjoy what you have, because only then you will manage to get what, otherwise you will be always unsatisfied in all your spheres. And take care of your family.
What would be that one thing that keeps Dr. Patki moving every day in the morning?
I think I'm very passionate about my job. So I get up in the morning feeling charged that, I have to go and see my patients, do something good. So that is, I mean, that passion itself is what drives me. And as I said, I don't compare myself to anybody. I want to better myself, and I don't want to antagonize anybody. I think I'm very singularly focused. So I do my job. I am very happy to be with my family and friends, and I want to spare that little spare time I have in good environment. So I think being positive is extremely important in a stressful life, and I think being humble and having empathy to your patient goes a long way in making yourself also contented
And a better version of yourself.
and a better
as well,
version
and
of
keeps you
yourself.
grounded. It does well indeed, sir. Now, although we are at the closing segment, sir, a couple of questions more. Let's say a younger version of yourself was supposed to walk in the room today. Is there a piece of advice that you'd give to younger Dr. Ameet Patki?
Yes, don't expect success very easy. It is extremely important because the younger generation wants everything quick. So I think you have to work. Everybody has their time, and it will happen. If you truthfully, ethically work hard and you long for something, it will come to you. So it is very important that you don't expect miracles to happen or quick fix to happen, because if you get success too early in life also, you may not be able to enjoy it fully. I think the success has to come after a lot of hard work, because then that फल मीठा होता है, as we say. If you, yeah, सबर का फल बहुत मीठा होता है. So if you work towards it, you'll enjoy it. If you get everything on a platter, you may not realize how lucky you are to get that, and you may not enjoy it fully.
True. And one piece of advice, sir, just a statement or a quotation that you live by to the younger doctors, and not just maybe gynacs, people who are entering the world of medicine. Anything.
It is a fantastic profession. I think you can do wonders if you really work towards your patient care. There is so much of new technology, there is so much of new innovations, artificial intelligence is coming. So you can actually use so much of wealth of knowledge that is there and treat your patients. So I think you have to be passionate to be a doctor. You should have that burning desire that I want to make a small change in practice, and it happens. So I think if you have passion, this is the profession for you.
Well, thank you so much for this very, very inspiring discussion, sir. With that, we come to the conclusion of this very powerful conversation, the Big Idea Doctors Day special. What I've heard today from sir is not just a career journey, it's a life lived in service and with a lot of passion, I'd like to add. So
thank you so much for having me, and wishing all the doctors and their families a happy Doctors Day.
thank you so much, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.